There are so many people out there that treat self-improvement and improving their life like they're just, shifting around furniture in a room, but the room's on fire. On the surface, there's definitely improvements that are happening and they're worth taking account of, but the foundation there is crumbly and it's not good and there's no quality there. It's like having a positive day, but your month sucks. A lot of people think that if you just change your morning routine or, buy a new gym bag or maybe start eating clean, whatever that means, that everything's suddenly, just going to make sense and fall in line. But that's not really how it works. That's not how life works. If your life feels like a mess right now in this moment, it's usually not because you're actually lazy. A lot of people will tell you you're lazy, but I refuse to believe that the answer could be that right in front of your face. It's not a matter of willpower. It's actually a matter of planning. It's a matter of taking account of your life, realizing what needs improvement, picking one specific deep-seated thing, and just refusing to let it poison the rest of your life. I really feel like it's time that we all look at our root problems. There's probably one root problem, or maybe multiple, that are related, that actually connect to a lot more of our issues. And identifying that for good is actually the only thing that matters here. If we're resetting our life, if we're hitting that hard reset button and we're sticking that little, when you have to reset the router and you have to stick a pen inside of the whatever, it's a stupid analogy. But the main point is, if we're resetting our life, you got to take a moment in your day and just sit with yourself. Sit with yourself, look at your life and see 10 different fires that you have to put out. Oh, they're there. I know I have a few fires I need to put out. I've had situations where I wasn't working hard enough. I wasn't focused on my goals in a way that just allowed me to attain them faster. And I've also been distant with people in the past. And when you see all those problems line up at once and all lead to the same path, the same common source, it's pretty paralyzing. You feel like you have to fight 10 wars at the same time, and you end up doing nothing because analysis paralysis comes in because you don't even know where to start. And I don't blame you. When you actually take that time to take inventory in your mind, you can actually stop the noise from happening. You could stop it from the source. When you put the phone in another room for 10 minutes and get brutally honest with yourself, you might start to realize that all the problems are just symptoms of one core thing. I mean, man, imagine taking 10 of your problems and boiling it down to one solution. And honestly, for me, a big thing that I've struggled with is I've had this constant suffocating anxiety, and it specifically has to do with the way that I'm being perceived by other people, whether I care about them or not. It's not even really about being successful in some type of huge way. It was just this background noise in my head, just banging and banging and banging against my skull. Just asking, is this version of me okay? Am I sounding smart enough in this moment? Do people think I'm intelligent? Do people think I'm funny? Do people think I'm nice? Do people think I'm agreeable? Am I being true to myself? But am I being true to what they want me to be? Do they think I'm a loser because I'm not at X point in my life yet? And man, when you carry that around, when you carry something that insistent around with you day to day and moment to moment, it's like you're trying to run a marathon, but you got 100-pound weight. You got the drive and you're moving and you're going forward, but man, the potential is it's like you're bottled up and ready to go. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are in a similar situation where you feel lazy, you feel like you're held back, you feel like there's something on your back. And the reality is you're not lazy. You don't lack willpower. You don't lack the ability to make something out of this life, but you're weighed down by something. Something is strapped around your ankles and it's not letting you lift your leg to get running. It won't even let you start walking. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you're physically and mentally exhausted from just carrying around this version of yourself that isn't even real. It's not even true to who you want to be. And that weighs you down too. If you spend all your energy on maintaining an image, if you're just doing maintenance on this small fire that's going on in your life that's spreading to 10 different areas, then you're just fanning the fire with all your energy and you're making no to little to no progress. And once you identify what's actually weighing you down, then comes to the part where you can actually make actionable changes in your life. But it gets complicated because, if you're anything like me, you've probably tried to change. You've probably tried to alter things about yourself. But there's other complicating factors other than your problems that also get in the way. Even though they mean well, they could still get in the way. And this might actually be the most difficult part of the video because it's hard to talk about. It hits the people that we actually care about. And I'm not saying, oh, self-improvement makes the people around you sad or makes them not like you, but sometimes it can put a wall between you and others. It's so trippy to say, and it's so strange to actually word it this way, but sometimes when we're improving, yeah, our friends can get a seat at the table, our family can get a seat at the table, our relationship can get a seat at the table, but sometimes they don't actually know what's best for you. I've had times in my life where I'm making this really phenomenal change for myself and I feel really good about it. And then somebody I'm close to, whether it's my family or friends or whatever, what have you, they say something, they get in my head. They're like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this diet? Why are you starting to do this project? Why are you going to school for this? Why are you changing your classes to this? Why are you going for this type of job? Blah, 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 blah. And it's so hard in that moment to realize that they mean well and they just know you really well. And it's like they're watching the show and they're just having commentary on the show. But the reality is they're not in the writer's room. They're not sitting in the chair while directing. That's all you. And as much as these people mean well and they want to see you succeed, what ends up happening is you start to feel like you're being too much or you're doing too much or you're being corny or maybe this actually isn't right for you and you're just thinking with your emotions while your friends or your family, like they know what's going on. They got enough skin in the game to just call it like it is. So maybe this diet isn't good. Maybe I should stop uploading YouTube videos. Maybe I shouldn't go to school. Maybe I should quit my job. And it's weird because your self-improvement side is instantly at odds with the thing that's supposed to feed you and give you mental health, being around people, interacting with family and friends. And these two things are colliding together, and it turns into you just getting no satisfaction from each end. And it can be a really incredibly lonely way to live. You don't want to end up in a situation where you end up resenting the people you love, because every time you see them, it feels like you're performing, I gotta mute this side of me. I gotta mute this aspiration. I gotta be nonchalant about this one thing that I got cooking up, or I gotta keep this thing secret. And then, you feel like you're simultaneously being too much and you're also being not enough. And this is why taking some time for yourself is actually a mechanical necessity in a lot of cases. It's not about being edgy or going ghost or going off the radar or being a jerk. It's actually about a total data blackout so you can actually listen to yourself, make your own decisions, and stand on business. And dude, the reality is you can't fix a performance while you're actually still standing on the stage. I know it sounds corny, but bear with me. Even if your friends are the best people on earth and your family loves you, their expectations are in a cage. They're in a box. They're predetermined. If they've known you as, the funny guy, the goofy guy for 10 years, you're gonna feel the need to be funny every time they text you. It's almost like a form of audience capture. They like this one part of you, and maybe the self-improvement you're doing goes against that grain. Well, what are you gonna do with that? If your parents expect you to be the stable one, you're going to keep lying about how much you're struggling. You're going to subconsciously keep playing those roles just to keep the peace, and you'll never actually change. You could change in your head, but unless the physical entity of you changes and in the way you interact with others and the world around you changes, it's a limiting factor. Sometimes it's actually good to go in dark mode because you need to see who you are when absolutely nobody is looking. It needs to be you and the mirror in your room. You got to be that cringe version of yourself in private, I guess. You need to fail at things, try new ideas, struggle through your own thoughts without worrying about how it's going to look on a status update or a group chat or a family outing. Your sense of identity starts to become malleable and you can play with it and you can put it the way that you want it so that the rest of your life follows suit. For example, if I'm out of shape and I don't feel good about myself and I feel like I want to get into the gym, it's really common for people to start dieting and going to the gym and having their unhealthy family and friends criticize them. If you just did it in silence and, controlled what you could in any given moment, and then once you lose the weight, once you make the progress, then you could talk about it, well, there's no denying it. The evidence is right in front of them. And then all of a sudden you become the fitness guy. You become the guy who takes care of his health and his mental health and his wellness. And then the other problems in your life connected to that problem, they end up disappearing or at least lessening a lot. And then one by one, you can put out these fires over and over and over again, set new goals, and just remain humble, true to yourself. And if you have to be ghost for a little bit and just, leave people on red and look after you, well, there's nothing wrong with putting the mask on yourself first before other people. Because then you get that satisfaction when you eventually show back up, you're a different person. And it's not because you have a new life, but because you've stopped the theater. You can go to dinner with your family and actually be present. You're not calculating anything. You're not trying to be enough or maybe too much. You're just existing. And the irony is, that's the only time people will actually feel a real connection with you. When you stop trying so hard to make them like you, and you handle your goals with the mirror placed in front of you. And real quick, one time before I let you guys go, I just want to give a shout out to my Discord community. It's linked in the description. A lot of great people have been joining there the last few weeks. We're getting a lot of self-improvement talk, a lot of lifestyle stuff. So if you guys want to connect with me and a like-minded fan base, click that link, join the Discord, say hi, introduce yourself. And of course, guys, thanks for all the support on the channel. I appreciate you guys. Have a good day.